my god, it's White Diamond! Sorry. Chris is just waiting for me to do my normal hello and welcome to, but I feel that's way more appropriate.
White Diamond's scary as fuck.
Should this episode just have started with no, let's do it properly. Hello and welcome to Steven University. This week, of course, we'll be discussing Legs From Here To Homeworld, the introduction of everyone's new favourite villain. Dear Lord, how terrifying is White Diamond?
But not just White Diamond, my friend. Now, this will be less effective if another episode has dropped between that and this one happening. But in our world, it has happened. It is here. We are caught up.
It's mad.
I now know as much as you, Daniel.
I know. That's crazy.
I mean, my predictions are going to get so much worse now I can't read Wikipedia.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's nuts. A lot of people are starting to, did say that once we get caught up, they're going to be paying close attention to stuff you say for future spoilers.
I know.
The pressure on you, Chris.
I feel like I've got to get something right just to prove that I wasn't cheating this whole time.
Well, you'll get to now, I suppose. Yeah, I'm sure you will. I mean, you like I said, you've been putting stuff together at a ridiculous rate this whole time. It always felt like you could predict the next few episodes pretty thoroughly. Certainly in the recent months. I mean,
I think the next one to this then I think is going to be akin to Wanted, where Steven goes off. I think he's going to get spoken to by something. Maybe not White Diamond, but something's going to join him in White Diamond jail or wherever he is.
Honestly, I think he's been sent to his room.
That's a great shout.
I know that seems ridiculous, but it's a really pink room with flowy curtains, and I was just like, I think she's just sent Pink to a room.
Wow.
I know.
That's awesome. And then it ends with some sort of big reveal about what on earth they've been doing on Homeworld and stuff.
I've got a theory about that, but we'll get to that at the end of the episode. Let's break it down. Chris. What was it about? What happened in the episode?
Lots. So in this episode, we start where we left off, with Blue excitedly kind of holding Pink Diamond, because Pink Diamond's back. She's excited. Yellow's just a bit confused. Can't quite believe or get to grips with the fact that Steven is Steven now and has no memories of Pink, Rose, or anything else. Mm-hmm. Steven's like, hey, you guys, because she says, how did you even survive? We destroyed everyone. And he's like, you didn't quite destroy everyone. And they go and visit Centipedal, who they very briefly restore to Gem's self.
Left, right.
In quite a horrific scene, where at first they slowly restore her, and she's got war memories, and she's responding to them as she would have done. And at one point, she's, it's like she's about to be corrupted, but then they turn her back. It's weird. It's not quite clear. They take their hands off of her, and she turns back. So I don't know if it only works if they're holding her or
White does say, what do you expect me to do? Hold her together forever. So it's clear that, naturally speaking, she isn't being held together. She was being held together by sort of force in that example.
Mm. But I did like the notion that they all had to work together.
I might have just said White. Sorry, restored. I meant Yellow.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. But I think I corrected you as well.
No,
so.
I didn't. I mustn't have done that. Sorry.
So then, basically, they say that they're not powerful enough. They can just hold them and do it, but they need White. To which everyone looks scared, except Amethyst, who seems surprised there's a White Diamond.
Which makes sense. She's never been on Homeworld.
Yeah. No, she's not seen so much of the stuff where kind of we put it together. So, yeah. So they decide to go. Connie's going with them. Bismuth is staying because it's sort of... he basically says he doesn't want to go into the lion's den. He doesn't want to sort of... risk it almost. Sorry. I keep doing that with Bismuth specifically. I'm so sorry.
You seem to, you do seem to do it with the larger gems. You did it with Jasper a lot too.
Which I feel bad about. I feel awful for that. It feels somehow stereotypical. It feels really wrong of me. So I apologize. It is a genuine mistake, and I'm trying not to do it.
I think it's more of a comment on like societally how you're sort of like.
But that shouldn't be the case. So I feel bad about it.
Yeah, but I get there's a certain amount of like pre-programming going on. I think with the way society sort of builds these things. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but that, like, I feel bad about that. That shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? That shouldn't be the case. So thanks for bringing it up and making me feel worse.
Not my intention, but sure.
No.
Not my intention, but an added bonus.
Yeah, Chris is. We're all caught up now. I'm a horrible person, so yeah.
It's about time. It's about time the listeners knew what your true nature was, Chris.
So everyone else, however, apart from Greg, obviously, is going. Bismuth is going to stay and wait for Peridot and Lapis to return, and they all go to Homeworld. In the leg ship, which turns out the theory was correct. The bumps in front, not my theory, but the theory that you told me about. The two bumps in front of the pyramids were a ship.
Which you did observe.
The legs. I observed they were pink and odd, yeah, and you, I think you then said, "Oh, well, there's a theory."
Several episodes later, yeah, I didn't say it at that point because I didn't want to, because I couldn't tell you that theory until you knew about Pink and Rose. Because why would Pink's ship be at Rose's? I didn't want you to. If I'd have said the theory is that's Pink's ship, you'd be like, well, why is that at Rose's junkyard? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want you to potentially put that together. So I didn't tell you that the theory about that being legs until after Single Pale Rose. But yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of humour from that, from Stephen being like, "Where's the ship?" and leaning on it randomly, and then it coming to life, and Bismuth just being like, "Stephen." So
yeah, he's like, we're gonna have to search the crap out of this desert. I mean, he doesn't.
They go to Homeworld. White's Princess Leia Pearl appears and requests Stephen. Stephen goes and, like Dan says, kind of gets sent to his room by just a really terrifying. And I take it is the woman then that was rumoured to be playing her.
Yeah, Christine Ebersole, absolutely. A famous sort of Broadway singer, and a good friend of Patti LuPone, who voices Yellow Diamond. So it's cool that those two are together, and presumably at some point, because they're both famous Broadway singers, they'll get a chance to sing.
Sing a song.
Ideally.
Just terrifying, White Diamond, but yeah. There's so much to unpack in this episode.
Well, let's start with the first question I have for you is, were you expecting to see White Diamond this soon? Because I fucking wasn't.
No. Not this soon at all. No. I was expecting maybe to get a hint of her at the end of the next, maybe. But I suppose it makes sense, because if you're going to play
but I thought as well... relentless, though. We just got done with one of the biggest episodes the show has ever done. And now they're dropping White Diamond on us. It's like, really? Can I breathe? Yeah. Can I? How's PD's hot for tots? Man. Like,
are there videos? Are there videos out there of people reacting to this at Comic-Con?
No, sadly, because they were very strict about it being filmed.
Yeah.
I think there probably might be. There's definitely videos of people reacting to Centipede being sort of reformed to Nephrite. Right. I didn't see any of the White Diamond moment, although I imagine the reaction in the crowd was nuts.
Yeah. She's so freaky. Well, we get that. I really want to talk... Well, what I was going to say at work, we'll start here, but remind me to say about Bismuth. I really like the way they're playing blue and yellow. That blue's just like immediately in, believing it, just happy to kind of have her sister back. Yellow's a bit more... confused, a bit more, a bit more thinking about the whole thing. I thought they played to those characters really well, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think they characterized them perfectly. It's exactly right. Their reactions are perfect. Blue has got Stephen held up to her face, and she's like, "Oh, you're safe. I'm so glad you're safe." And then she puts him down, and immediately then, Yellow bends down, is right in his face, like, explain. Like, I want answers. I need answers. What's going on? How is this a thing?
Although this appears to be, like, at least a couple of hours after, because Connie's changed.
Everyone has changed. Everyone has changed. Yeah, no one is in their wedding outfit. Stephen's in his red shirt again. Bismuth isn't in her armor anymore.
So
Pearl
when did that happen?
Suit. They're all in standard outfits. Yeah, that's my question. Because I felt very much like this was, like, pretty much the immediate aftermath of what happened, Presumably, though, it was like, all right, you're pink. Everyone wanted to go back to the house and just get changed because we shouldn't have this conversation if we were all in our fancy outfits. Come on, our Sunday best. No, it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
So, white. Yellow. Are you okay to just wait a bit while we? I know you've got questions. Don't worry about it. I know we just had a big fight. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that. But can we just go get changed first? It's just a bit muggy. Sweating in this suit.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is really weird.
I've got to know, by the way, is them all chatting together normally? Is that what the leaks were?
Correct.
Or do we still not know what the leaks were?
No, you exactly got it. So basically, and you've got to think of this in a pre-single pale rose world.
Well, that's why I asked, because I was like, it can't have been white because that doesn't spoil anything other than the fact that white is coming. And then when they were all chatting, I was like, oh, I wonder if like... it was the fact that, something happens which makes them on the same page.
But this is before we knew about Rose being pink.
Oh, God.
So, now I didn't know what this contained until literally like 2 days ago. When this episode aired, somebody said the opening scene of this episode was what leaked. All I knew was that it showed several characters talking that you would not expect to be talking or together at any point in the near future, and that hinted we were in the end game. But think about all the factors of those shots that would have blown people's minds. Bismuth being present. This is prior to Bismuth returning. Yeah. Yellow and blue seemingly being on conversational terms with the crystal gems and on Earth. The crystal temple being smashed in half in the background. Like, you would have had so many questions seeing this clip. So many questions. And it would have made a little more sense once you get to Single Pale Rose. But, dear Lord... I mean, yeah, I feel bad for anyone who saw that. I got a sense that it was about characters that
Bismuth not only Bismuth being back, but Bismuth also being on speaking terms with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So that's kind of like, I feel bad for the people who got that spoiler, who watched that podcast innocently, not realizing it was about to, blow their minds with spoilers. So I do feel, but yeah, that's really unfortunate. In terms of like my element of it, I got really lucky. I got very lucky in that.
Yeah, and it's
all
it's
I heard
cool
was
as
that
well.
It was that.
It's cool as well though that it's not the end game. That it's just the end of this.
But
season.
You can
it's not
see how people
thought
it. You can see though how people.
Oh
thought
yeah,
it was.
yeah.
Almost definitely
disaster. A massive cock up.
Yeah, it was remarkable. To this day, I'll never understand how that happened. And at the end of last week's episode, people were like, "Oh, we're now considering the big podcast leak to be sort of mild spoilers now." And I was like, I bet it's like just the new circumstances of Bismuth, blue, yellow. So I had a strong idea once I watched Reunited that we were either on top of it or about to hit it. But yeah, obviously, once I saw this episode, I looked into it, and people were saying, "Oh, spoilers have been and gone now." So there's no more actual official. There's nothing officially we've seen beyond this now. Wow!
So me and all of you guys are at this point of recording on the same page.
Isn't that nuts? Imagine the idea of releasing this episode at Comic-Con. Like, what a nuts thing to do!
The room must have gone crazy.
But not just that, but what they did, I thought was really cool was, and I still didn't expect White to necessarily show up in this episode. They did a teaser the day before that was just White's eyes with that eerie diamond music behind it for the Comic-Con panel. And I was like, oh, it'll be like when they did the first teaser. When they did the new intro, when they redid the intro.
Yeah.
And it has that moment where there's a shadowy figure in the background that slightly turns and it's yellow, but it's before we'd really seen what yellow looked like. I thought we were going to get one of them, basically. Like a very hinty look at... And that's why I said to you, Chris, we should do a Comic-Con episode of this podcast, because I'm thinking we'll have our first glimpse at White, I reckon. Not realizing she'd be in the fucking next episode. I would have never in a million years expected her to show up so soon.
Of course, because this is basically our Comic-Con episode.
Yeah, I mean, because other than the movie, this is really all they did. You know, it wasn't a particularly. And I'll be honest with you, as much as I like Shelby Rabara, I hope she doesn't host the panel next year. It was, it was very playful, and she wasn't really. It wasn't until we got to like fan questions that we got to like some interesting stuff. Most of what go on,
but the people there they got this, and they got the movie reveal. Like it's
but the actual interview itself didn't get to explore like some of the things that I would have wanted to ask Rebecca in a post Single Pale Rose and Reunited world. Do you know what I mean? Like I there's a lot of stuff to discuss with the cast and crew. And it was a lot of just them being quite jovial and friendly and talking to each other. It was lovely, but I think with a Comic-Con panel, when you've only got like that set amount of time to sort of like you do need to take advantage, because we don't always get to see these people all gather together on a stage talking. So it's and again, Shelby, who voices Peridot, being chosen to moderate the panel might have been a mistake. Because it was just her and her friends riffing, which is fun, and I certainly enjoyed that, but I feel like Comic-Con maybe not the place for that. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's a weird one. It's amazing how a good moderator can make the difference. Like, I don't think the Doctor Who panel as well. I don't think Chris Hardwick's replacement was particularly probing either, because she was very much kept being like, "Oh, you're not giving anything away," and I kept thinking, well, to be fair, you're not asking them anything.
That was a terrible panel for that reason. Also, they just couldn't say anything, so we learnt so little from it. The only thing that came out of that Doctor Who panel I liked was the Bradley Walsh video.
And ask questions where it's just like, I don't think they should put people on the spot where they say things like, so if you could interact with any former companion, I'm like, no, don't reveal that these guys haven't, because I suspect they've not seen every episode. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's unfair when actors join cult shows and shows or shows with rabid fan bases when they get asked things like that, because it forces them to potentially reveal that for them it's a job, and that's fine, like, as long as they do a good job. Going back to the bismuth of it all, do you think the explanation, the conclusion that bismuth is going to stay, do you think it makes sense? Are you happy with that? Do you think... I love what it gives us. It gives us potentially we go back from Homeworld to Earth in a bit, much like they did with the new crystal gems, and we have them poof, and maybe we have Lapis poof first, and her and bismuth have to deal with their shit. So I love that. It was a bit when she started talking, I was a bit like, oh, okay, how are you gonna write bismuth out of this trip?
I think they justified it well. I like the idea that bismuth's just like, I'm not gonna like one of the phrasings she uses, I'm not gonna put myself on their anvil, and it's just like, she's like, I get why you've got to go be diplomatic, but I was fighting these guys. I'm not. I can't help you with diplomacy.
But she is letting her friends, like in the episode prior, we have her say, "I've only just got my friends back. I can't lose them again." And now she's watching her friends put their heads on the anvil.
But you have to accept that the circumstances have certainly changed. That there they are. In the company of two diamonds that aren't trying to kill them. And I think
I suppose that's actually why.
Go on.
I suppose that's actually why it's quite clever to have bismuth be the one holding Garnet back at the beginning.
Yes, because it's
and
really
saying she's not going to harm him.
Yeah, exactly. Because bismuth has sort of like figured it out that like that's the situation. I think, the way I look at it is, right now we're in peace times. She doesn't see herself as being particularly useful in peacetime. Like, as these talks continue, and if things kick off again, she'll be ready to take up the fight. But she's not going to, in the meantime, make herself vulnerable to the diamonds if they suddenly decide to change their mind. She wants to be, ready to go from Earth, I suppose, if it comes to it. But on top of that, I think she sees a real use for herself there. She's going to look after the gems, and she's going to maybe rebuild the house. I like the idea.
And she was looking at their ships as well. I think she's going to play.
I clocked that second viewing.
Rebuild them.
Second viewing, I got that too. I didn't think that initially, but that the second time around, I did notice that it's her that she looks over and sees like a chunk of like Yellow looks over and sees the chunk of the ship flying over. But yeah, there's definitely a few glances from Bismuth as well.
Yeah. I think Bismuth is potentially gonna see what they've got cooking in there.
I can see where it's a concern though. I can see why you would think it seems out of character a little bit for her. To sort of.
I just thought it wasn't as clean as. Although then again, we had problems with Peridot and Lapis staying behind on things before, so I think it's just an issue you have to do when you've got you've already got 3 Batmen. You got to work out what you do with the Robins.
Yeah, I suppose so. I think
I want to see a Bismuth spin-off show where the trailer's just really dark and you just see Bismuth go, "Fuck crystal gems."
For anyone who doesn't know what Chris is referencing, there was a trailer released at Comic-Con for a new Teen Titans show, and it has Robin saying "fuck Batman," which has been the source of some controversy in terms of some people think it's really out of character. Some people quite like it. We landed somewhere in the middle, didn't we? Where we were sort of like, it kind of works, and in the context of this new, in quote marks, dark version of the Teen Titans. But we'll see how it plays out. Our
bigger problem was that it's called Titans, and the trailer made it seem like it was just about Robin.
Yeah, that's a bigger issue. I'm torn on whether that show looks good or not. In terms of this, yeah, I think they got away with it with Bismuth. I think it makes perfect sense because of specifically what she says to Steven about like, I know what you've got to do and why you've got to do it. Which is like, I accept that in these circumstances you have no choice, but I've got a choice in the matter. And I think I'm better suited here. And I think they just about covered it. I see where your concern comes from though, for sure.
Yeah, no, I was just intrigued.
Yeah, I thought really interesting. One thing I want to talk about, because I think it's such an interesting idea, and it came up a lot in like on the Reddit this week and stuff, is the idea that like, each of the 4 diamonds can heal a certain element of a corrupted gem. 1 second, there was someone drew a diagram and like labeled it, and I'm not sure this is 100% it, but it seems very clear that Yellow restored the body. Like as soon as Yellow touched Nephrite, her body went back to normal, but then, so the theory is that body is Yellow Diamond's ability, heart is Pink Diamond's ability, which is why Nephrite was so emotional, and then soul comes from Blue Diamond, and that gave her sort of like consciousness back, and mind, which completes that trilogy, mind, body, soul, heart, comes from white basically. So you need white to help really bring the mind back together, which should theoretically stabilize the gem.
That's an interesting theory, I think. But Steven kind of brought her mind back as well, at least temporarily.
Yeah, it's not a completely functional theory. It's a slightly vaguer one, but I like it as a theory. And I think there is definitely some intent there. I definitely think it's not a coincidence that Nephrite refound her form when Yellow touched her, and was just like basically burr, 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 like just sort of like just gibberish, and then Blue touches her. And then she's just reliving the war. She gets her soul back, and all she's thinking of, and then Steven touches her, and then, she's as close to being like, herself again. She gets her heart back. She feels emotional. I think because she gets teary when Blue touches her. So maybe Blue is a heart. I don't know. Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was fascinating. I kind of wanted her to say something about, because she was trying to find the other ship and the other corrupted gem, wasn't she? So I was wondering if she was going to say something about, her family, her friends, etc.
Yeah,
but she didn't.
No, she went straight into that's why they think mind doesn't really come until, because she didn't seem to have her full faculties with her. She didn't seem to really know where she was or what had gone on. She was basically acting as if the war was still ongoing, and that she that she hadn't just spent thousands of years, as a sort of like centipede type monster. That's why a lot of people think you need the mind from white to really clear it up and bring the gem back to full awareness.
Another interesting element of the episode for me, Connie going. I love the stuff with her parents, the notion that they're now happy for her to just get in a big arse.
And I just love as well that like the most the most sort of reassuring thing Pearl could say was she'd be able to breathe.
Yeah. But that kind of fits with, how they've recently done those characters. But her going full stop, I thought was fascinating. I
mean, they couldn't have gotten away with not doing it this time. Not after her reaction to Stephen going to Homeworld on his own last time. You just couldn't justify it. You literally couldn't. It caused such a fuss between them. They said they were doing this together.
Yeah.
They made a whole point of that.
Yeah, that's very true. I just love that, though. I love that she's a crystal gem.
Yeah. I mean, she proved herself. In that fight with Blue, she held her own, surprisingly.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that she was in that fight. I love that she's gone with them. I just thought it was a really nice choice, and I'm very intrigued. I like the notion, I think it was quite deliberate that it makes sense character-wise, but, as well, that you had Amethyst and Connie, asleep on Garnet. I just love the idea that over the next few episodes, Amethyst and Connie voice the confusion, and voice the what is going on Homeworld. And I love as well that Pearl voices the kind of the guide for them. I think we're going to get a few scenes of Pearl explaining shit to those guys.
Yeah, I think so too. I think what's interesting as well, though, I mean, going forward, right, we're on Homeworld. We have Pearl, Garnet, Connie, and Amethyst, and then Steven has been separated off from them now. How long do they stay on Homeworld and tell stories of them adventuring on Homeworld before they have to go back? I mean, if I was predicting, I'd say 4 or 5, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I'd predict.
It's hard to say.
I'm kind of more interested in what takes them back.
The legs?
No, but are they chased back? Do they go back to Earth and then White's bringing the fight to them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do they escape and then have to run back to Earth as a refuge? Yeah, that's an interesting thought, because they can be protected, I suppose, by the cluster a little bit on Earth, whereas they've got very little to protect them on Homeworld. They're sitting ducks to any big attacks, whereas the cluster seems very much on their side on Earth. So the Earth can weirdly defend itself a little bit now, which I think is a neat idea.
And it's got and it's got 3 of the crystal gems there as well. I think they have to go back to Earth. I think they, I listed them. There's too many threads. Sadie, Lars, there's too many threads still open on Earth. I don't think we're going to get a Homeworld season. I'm not quite sure how you get them back, but it's fascinating. The whole thing has so many options. And I think what's good as well is that if you'd have ended the season last week, which you so could have, you kind of, as we did, you can kind of guess what this episode is.
Not the Homeworld thing. I was very surprised they got to Homeworld so quick.
Right,
in fact, a lot of people have criticised this episode for being a bit rushed, which I think is a fair criticism. Didn't personally feel that too much myself, but I definitely, I felt that it was going very fast, but it didn't feel too rushed to me. They just about got it right. Just about. It was on the line.
I agree. But what's exciting, though, is I don't know what the hell happens next week. Couldn't even begin to tell you. And that's a good position to be in for the last episode of the series.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it depends on what your theory is. So let's talk a little bit about, White and White's Pearl and some of the other nutty stuff around that. So they land on Homeworld.
You don't really have a theory, do you?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I very much do.
Let's talk about your theory.
So
we've had 151 episodes of my theories, Dan. What's yours?
So having not seen any further episodes, because obviously more might have aired since then, but the way it seems to me, I think... So we get a glimpse of Homeworld, and it seems to be breaking apart. It's in loads of pieces. It's obviously been rampaged a bit worn, the same way that I suppose the planets that they capture for their colonies eventually have all their resources sort of supped out. What I found really interesting is that White Diamond had her arms outstretched, and you didn't see what her hands were doing. I think she's shape-shifting her arms outwards across the planet and potentially holding it together.
Oh, wow.
And I think that
Wow.
shapeshift, because they clarify she's not left the planet in eons, and we also know that shapeshifting cannot be maintained for a very long time. So I think if you combine those two ideas, you could imagine that she's been there a very long time, and because she has to, because she's what's holding the planet together. But shapeshifting for that length of time has basically driven her mad. That's my theory. I don't think she's right at all. So I think that it's going to be Steven. Maybe the goal is going to be Steven helping find a way to heal the planet without her holding it together. And that might be the solution.
Why?
That's what I've been thinking about.
Do you have any thoughts on what seems to be the arena of
I think
in all the different colours?
Well, I think that is the different courts of the diamonds waiting for their instructions. They're I mean, Steven's army's still sitting there. Pink's army's still waiting to go. I thought it was cool. We got a glimpse of them. It looked like they were definitely aquamarines there, and they were a very different version of Peridot there. Now, I think we've established in the past that Peridot is Era 2, so I guess those are Era 1 Peridots. Not clear. And then the gem to the right of that, completely indistinguishable to me. I couldn't make out what kind of gem that was. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things on it. I mean, particularly I found, I'll be honest with you, the story of White Pearl is actually weirdly more interesting to me. I don't know if you noticed.
She didn't have an eye, did she? Or
she didn't have an eye, which, okay, let me put this into context because at first I was just like, okay, she's been through some shit, she's got scars, whatever. How's that a big deal?
No, I think White gave him to her.
Well, yeah, but gems aren't supposed to have markings. Their physical forms are light projections. How do you scar light projection?
It says with real force. It says something quite. I think it says a hell of a lot about White's character.
Well, yeah.
And potentially the abuse she's put her Pearl through.
Well, I mean, even more so than that. I don't know if you noticed her voice, Chris. That was the more interesting factor.
Not particularly.
Okay, so all of the previous diamonds we've seen have been voiced by Dee Dee Magno Hall, who voices Pearl. So all the Pearls have the same voice. They share that voice, and she adjusts them for the characters. Like, she makes Blue a little slower, and she's made Yellow a little hoitier. She affects the voices to adjust to the characters, so they feel different and distinct, but they are ultimately all her voice. White's diamond spoke with the voice of Christine Ebersol. White's Pearl. And Christian Ebersol is White Diamond. So a lot of people are speculating that diamond has lost free will and is being basically controlled by White Diamond.
Wow.
Is it years worth of
Princess Leia hair?
Yeah. Well, she just really liked Star Wars. That one's easy to explain. She just loved Star Wars.
The planet looks a little bit like the Death Star being built as well.
She visited Earth once. She really got into Star Wars. There's a lot of theories about there's a lot of theories about the pearls being swapped, and that our Pearl was originally White's Pearl, because you notice the only one who really knew anything about White Diamond was our Pearl. She basically says to Steven, White Diamond's not like us. She's not like them, and then points to the two diamonds we've already met. She seemed to know a fair bit about White Diamond.
Yeah, and that would tie in with as well. Didn't she describes herself as being given to Pink and not being able to make Pink happy and stuff?
She was certainly described as being given to Pink. So, like, there's a theory that she was originally Pink's diamond. There's some people who've theorized that they swapped, so that the white pearl we saw today was originally Pink's, and Pink somehow damaged her, and then they did a swap. I don't know if that makes sense. I've seen that theory knocking around. I don't buy that theory. It's not out of the realms of possibility, though, to imagine that our Pearl was originally White's.
It's all so fascinating, man. It's so good.
Yeah, there's a lot going. Well, this is the thing that's crazy about this episode is, like, I think we are at a tipping point for the direction of this show for the next season or so. And I think we are in the middle of that tipping point, because I think the next episode is going to answer and clarify a lot of these questions. And by the end of it, we'll have a much clearer idea of the general direction of the show going forward.
Yeah.
Is it going to be that of conflict? Is it going to be that of them working together? Is it, whatever the tone of the show is going forward, that's all going to be a lot clearer at the end of the next episode, which is theoretically the last episode of the season, as it were. So hopefully by then we'll have some clearer ideas.
What if a previous planet that the diamonds have colonized is somehow getting revenge, or do you know what I mean? Like the gems have
an external threat that isn't gems.
Yeah, the gems have taken over a lot of planets. What if someone's kicking back and suddenly Steven's not just atoning for the sins of his mother, he's atoning for the sins of gems and stuff.
That honestly, that thought went through my head this week. Weirdly, at the moment that Yellow said they'd be the laughing stock of the galaxy, and I was because that made me think, oh, maybe gems aren't the only thing out there. Like maybe
blows the show wide open.
Maybe maybe gems have their own version of the Daleks. Like a being they've been at war with for some time, because that makes you think, why do they have armies? Why do they need to colonize planets and strip away the resources? Are they in a wider battle? And that is potentially again, but I think because we're midway through this final two-parter, because it felt very much clear to me that this episode and the episode that comes after it was sort of maybe initially conceived that they'd follow each other quite shortly thereafter, and that may very well be the case.
Even to the point where there seems to be hell of a cut at the end.
Yeah. So there's plenty to sort of handle here, like to think about, but I think it's harder for us to come across with theories here until we see the next one. I think once the next episode is aired, it'll be a lot easier to speculate where the show is going for the next season. But in terms of White, I thought what was really clever was the way they made White creepy was that they made her basically just... Well, first of all, she knew Steven was pink. No one had to explain that to her. She already knew, basically, by the sound of it, from what she was saying, what was going on. Did you get it out of your system? Then there's that other weird element of she was saying these non sequiturs and not really replying to what Steven was saying. She was just like, how are you? Good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she wasn't even letting him reply. It was like she was having a conversation with herself. Like,
that goes back for me to abusive mother. Like,
yeah, there's something. Yeah, there's. I mean, White is clearly not with it. So I'm very excited to see what the explanation is for White's quite sort of discordant personality. Like because there's the downside here is, and the reason I theorized that they might be able to restore her if Steven can find a way for the planet to hold itself together, is the reason I went with that theory was I was like, you can't. Yes, she's creepy right now, but at some point she has to start making sense, right? She can't be a raving lunatic going forward, surely.
But I don't know if she's not just really angry.
Right, so maybe that she's not with it, but it is just legit anger.
Yeah, it goes back to the mother thing. When you come back drunk after a night out, and it's like, did you have a good time last night? Mm-hmm. Yep. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, that thing my mum does where she'd ask a question she knows the answer to. God, that annoys me. Have you done this? Well, you fucking know I haven't. Why ask? You just want me to either lie or have to tell the truth. Just give me the bollocking. That winds me up, mate. No, as a trait, I've had it done to me in like a work scenario, and I don't get it because it only exists learn the lesson from Steven Universe. Let it be about love. Let it be about friendliness. When someone asks you a question they already know the answer to, it only exists to either make you look stupid, expel an argument because you lie in response and they know you've lied. I'm talking about the much bigger issue, by the way, than my mum doing this. Like, this is people in general doing that. I think it is only ever done to incite conflict, and as a trait of people, it winds me up.
I agree.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what else I don't? Another trait of people I don't like, Chris.
What's that?
Was when people do that thing where they take advantage of your trust for a cheap, shitty laugh when they go like, "Oh, your shoelace is untied," and then you look down and they're like, "Ha ha," and they like laugh, and it's like they're like, "I got you," and it's like, no, you just abused my trust of you. Like I trusted you, you told me a thing, I believed you, and you proved to be an arsehole.
Yeah. And when people say, when you're genuinely, because obviously you and I do this to some degree across the podcasts in the form of banter, but when people know they are genuinely winding you up and they say this sentence, "Oh, you're so easy to wind up," well then don't fucking wind me up. Yeah. Like, what? I don't, like, it's just so easy to annoy you. Well, how about you don't annoy me and we all live in harmony, you prick? Like, that annoys me too.
I agree. I think so moving on from Dan and Chris pet peeves with other humans, because that's a different podcast that maybe we'll start after this. I'm genuinely excited because
and the other thing that people do that annoys me is when people make us do more podcasts, which I'm aiming specifically at you.
Oh, that makes me sad. I don't think we do enough podcasts, Chris.
We do. You've got no money to travel to Japan with, and I've taken the afternoon off work just so that we are putting the podcast before holiday days with our friends and family, and you getting cash so you can actually go on holiday.
But for those who want a clarification on that, today was me running around London trying to find anywhere that carried yen. So I could do a transfer.
Which you had to stop doing early to come back and do this.
Yeah. And I didn't even get back for this in time.
No, or get the yen. So
no. Today was a complete waste of time. I definitely
think we do enough podcasts, is my point.
Yeah, we do. Anywho, what was I going to say? Bringing it back to the episode. This is a crazy episode. I think a lot happens. I do think it's a little fast. But I think because it was intended, I think it was sort of designed with the next part in mind. I think when we get that, I think it's all going to settle a bit in the next one. But it is just this episode just really wrong foots you. It just puts you right on edge the second we're anywhere near Homeworld, and then it all just starts feeling really, really weird.
Is there any indication of when we'll get the next part?
Not at all. No, of course not. I suspect soon, though, the way they're going at the moment. What do you think about the design of White? Like the pure white head to the point where it's like sort of shining so much she doesn't even really have an outline.
Yeah, I like that. I thought it was a cool, creepy design choice.
She has got a gem on her forehead. You just can't see it in this shot. Rebecca Sugar did some sketches of her at Comic-Con after the episode aired, for people at the booth. And she was sketching her with a diamond in her head.
Oh, that's cool. It's good of her to do that as well.
Which is the other reason people think the pearls were swapped, by the way, because blue and yellow's diamonds have their pearls in the same spot. Pearl has her pearl in her forehead, which White Diamond does, and White's pearl has her
in her chest.
Is in her chest, which is in her tummy, which is like where Pink's would. That's another reason people think that the two gems got swapped at some point.
That's a good shout.
I mean, that gives that theory slightly more credence, but honestly, I don't know what the purpose of that would be in a wider story perspective. What's the story there? Like, what's the benefit of that being true? That doesn't change or improve the backstory of any of these characters, so I don't know why you would make that the case, because then you've got to explain it. And I don't know how it... Like, this show is very good at making the past of the show have an impact on the present drama. And I don't know what impact that has other than it'd be a kind of like a weird little bit of Pearl's history that you'd go, oh, cool, okay, so at one point she belonged to White. Fine. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how
you could make it if Pearl was really obedient and stuff with White, you could then argue that because Pearl was so rebellious with Pink, that White sees it as Pink corrupting her Pearl. Maybe. Or that Pearl at one point wasn't very strong. Our Pearl wasn't very strong, and the other Pearl was stronger. And she was like, look, Pink's just a spoiled child. Let's just swap. And she's still feeling the consequences of that to this day, because our Pearl wasn't strong enough at the time to handle the abuse that White was giving.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe.
So the other one was like, okay, swap with me because you're not going to survive this and I can.
Yeah, maybe.
But you'd have thought we'd have got more guilty looks from our Pearl when White Pearl appears, which to my memory, and I've only seen this once just now, I don't think we got, did we?
Yeah, I don't think so either. I've seen it twice now. Well, I've seen the last few minutes 4 or 5 times. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. But there wasn't any particular indication, or there was no that I could see or recall any, glances between the two sets of characters. But there's definitely something weird going on. I think the choice to have Christine Ebersole voice that Pearl, that says more than anything else, because I don't understand why Pearl wouldn't have Pearl's voice unless she was being sort of mind controlled or something, which is just a bit weird.
Maybe that weird. Pearl is actually white. I don't know. I still think Onion's white, but...
Someone today posted the screen grab from this week's episode but stuck Onion's head on White's body. It was awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What triv we got, Daniel?
Triv, you've asked at the exact minute that I'd I don't know why, but I put my laptop not down, but I closed it 20 seconds ago. That was weird.
You knew the triv was coming, didn't you, Dan?
I know, I did. Before we get into the triv, because I've not really read through the triv properly yet, because we just rewatched it. Well, I know I did. I got through most of it actually, because I filtered a bunch out. It's one of the reasons we started a little bit later than I was hoping. But I wanted to point out that Nephrite mentions oh god, what was the other gem called? Nephrite mentions it's gonna kill me. Hessonite, who is the villain from the Save the Light game.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So yeah, Nephrite was sort of like, I haven't been able to report back to my Hessonite or whatever, and her Hessonite, I don't know if it's specifically her Hessonite, but Hessonite is the villain in the Save the Light game, who's a pretty badass, cool design gem, a war general that comes back to Earth, not looking for Stephen and the Crystal Gems, but looking for a weapon she'd left behind. And Stephen has discovered it. It's a cool plot for the game.
Attention.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool, and I think that obviously Nephrite's been referenced before because in the Jungle Moon flashback dream sequence, Yellow Maheshwaran was on the phone to a Nephrite. Talking about where they were going to send ships and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. Another one or two little bits I want to quickly just ask you about very quickly before we get to the trip, actually. Did you find it interesting that the Diamonds didn't seem to know what they'd done? I found that interesting. They were like, we obliterated everyone. And Stephen's like, not quite.
No, I didn't think too much of that. I think that it is odd in a way that because does that slightly undermine their powers, that they thought they were destroying everyone, but actually they were just corrupting, or maybe it was something to do with it ricocheting off of Stephen's shield or something, and actually or Rose's shield, and maybe it lessened if Rose hadn't have had her shield there, she was only able to literally save the people that were behind her, but maybe as well the notion that the beam hit that or something.
My theory was that White is way more malicious. So
so White did. Is it all three that do it?
It's all three. Remember. All three hands did it. So my sort of theory when I thought that through was that Blue and Yellow had done it with the intention of just wiping everyone out instantly, like a quick death. Just clear this planet off of all the gems. Let's just start from scratch. And White, out of pure sort of malicious intent, wanted them to suffer and made the beam less destructive and more corrupty.
Right.
Theoretically.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
It would also explain the weird sort of corruptions on that Pearl, with her being cracked. Because again, these are not physical beings. They shouldn't have damage. It doesn't make sense for them to have damage. Their bodies are just mental constructs made of light. So how damaged must that Pearl be to have that? The theory, actually, a lot of people have theorized, this is actually another good one, that gem is cracked, but on the other side, the bit that's on the inside. that you can't see.
Oh yeah.
So you know how when Stephen, when Pink reformed Rose, a gem repositioned, the people are thinking that maybe when this pearl reformed, her gem rotated to keep the cracked side facing in. So maybe she is cracked. Like when Amethyst got cracked, she went all damagey, didn't she? She went a bit weird.
Maybe at some point then Stephen will heal her, and then that's when she fights back against White. That'd be cool.
Maybe. Lots of options there. Yeah. One other last thing. Did you think the legs having heels was a bit unnecessary?
Not particularly. It just made me go, "Oh, sweet! They've got heels."
Okay, fair enough. I found the shot of its backside shining in the sun when they were trying to explain to the Maheshwarans what was going on was a bit unnecessary. There's like a little ping off.
I thought that was amusing. That and the whole stuff of it flying. They managed to make those legs, like especially when they flew. Like after the joke of it being a bit ungraceful, and when they flip round and re-enter the atmosphere of Homeworld, they managed to make that look really cool.
Yeah,
that was good.
Agreed.
But and I'm a leg man, so
I loved the. I just loved that joke of. I'm sure this was much more graceful when Mom did it, and Pearl just being like, "No, it wasn't." So good.
I didn't think that's a joke. I thought there was a story there. I thought maybe we were going to see Pearl trying to teach Pink how to fly the ship and stuff.
Maybe. I just thought it was like a little gag, but yeah, possibly. I wouldn't rule that out.
Because why is the ship even there? Like they teleport to Earth the first time, I believe. They don't fly down.
Yeah, but then there were sort of several years of battles, weren't they, where Pink was sort of, and she was on the Jungle Moon she's not Jungle Moon. She was on the Earth's moon. Presumably the ship was nearby. Maybe she just hit it on Earth, so it wasn't just this giant pink object very obviously on the moon. I don't know, but. Yeah, it doesn't seem out of the realms of possibility. I have another question for you, though, a logistics one, Chris. When they cut to the ship that the Nephrites are on, and particularly Centipede, you see that they've been warping in, and you see Yellow warp in. Did Yellow climb into the house and use the warp pad in the house?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Where did Blue and Yellow find a warp pad big enough to hold them?
I mean, there was the house is in two, so they probably could have got in the house. But yeah, that was unless they travelled differently. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe they shapeshifted down size wise. I don't know.
No, it's not a bad shout.
Speculation. Who knows? All right, let's get to the trivia then. So this episode implies that White Diamond is the ruler of all gems, including her fellow diamonds, as evidenced by Blue and Yellow's demeanour and demeanour on the topic of talking to White Diamond. That makes sense to me. I think White is the leader of sorts.
Or at the very least, the most powerful.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, by the end of the show, Stephen's going to be the leader of them all. So,
yeah, that's true. It is revealed that Pearl is not the only Pearl who has a different gem placement to her owners, but we've talked about that. This is Amethyst and Connie's first visit to Homeworld, and when Stephen and the group land on Homeworld, the gems that greet them stand in colour formations representing the original symbol of the Great Diamond Authority, indicating that these gems come from the different courts of each diamond, which implies that Stephen now has an army and an entire court of gems at his disposal.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. The title card shows the temple and the beach as normal, but of course, if you look carefully, you'll see pieces of Blue and Yellow Diamond ships scattered across the beach. This is similar to how the pieces of the gem warship were shown in the title cards for Full Disclosure and Joyride. I don't know if you recall that, Chris, but cool.
Yeah, I do. That was nice. And how the ocean had disappeared for the Lapis episode.
Yeah, for Mirror Gem and Ocean Gem. Yeah, definitely. Garnet still is wearing her wedding rings from the previous episode, but apart from that, everyone has changed back to normal attire. We've talked about that already. Centipede is confirmed to be a Nephrite.
I'm glad they kept the wedding rings on Garnet's hands.
I'd be very sad if they went anywhere now. They should be a permanent part of her design.
They will be.
Yeah, I hope so. Centipedal's confirmed to be a Nephrite, which is a type of gem mentioned to be pilots in Bismuth and Jungle Moon. So yeah, that backs up what we already knew. It was actually a long-standing theory, and I might have even mentioned it on this podcast, that Centipedal was a Nephrite because the colour and shape of the gem when Centipedal was poofed sort of was in the range of that. So people were speculating Nephrite for quite some time. So yeah, it was nice to have that confirmed. In addition to the gems distinguishing serial numbers, including facet and cut, this episode concerns the additional use of, I don't know how to pronounce this. Cabin conch? I don't know. It's probably one of those words that when I hear it, I'll go, oh, that's how that word is written down. It's written down in a way that I can CABOCHON. I don't know how to pronounce that. So yeah, I'm just gonna pretend.
Are you beeping? I can hear beeping.
Yeah, I can hear the beeping too. It's not me, I don't think. No, it's not on my side.
It was my dad trying to call me at the same time as I was on the phone to you.
There you go.
Who knew that was a thing?
I mean, I did.
You still there? Oh, right. No, I didn't. It's never. My old phone didn't do that. He'd have just got voicemail right away. Didn't give me the option.
Well, there you go.
Dad probably is just like, you've caught up. What do you think, son? He's a big Steven Universe fan.
He's been hiding it from me all this time because he didn't want you asking questions. Right.
Yeah.
I've got YouTube is going to tell me how to pronounce this word. Bear with me, Chris.
Right.
I want to know. It's doing my nutting.
Cabochon.
Okay.
Cabochon. Okay. So it's different kinds of like gem cuts you can get. Basically, we've talked about these in the past. Obviously, previously they've used facet and cut as a phrase. So peridot XD facet 9J or whatever. But they used for nephrite. They used cabochon. So there you go. Obviously,
Cool.
They confirmed Nephrite's commander to be Hessonite, which is a gem previously mentioned and seen in the game Save the Light. Let's see. And the last one, at the start of the episode, Garnet attempts to stop Blue Diamond from holding Steven, calling her a shatterer. Blue Diamond had previously threatened to shatter Ruby in the answer, and after witnessing Garnet's form for the first time, Ruby has actually referred to her as a shatterer before in the episode Gem Heist.
Cool. Nice touch.
Cool. I
There
think we covered it all. I felt like I was
That
I struggled to sort of collect my thoughts for this one, but there's just so much going on.
I think it's so much to take in. It was like me after a single pale rose. There's just so much to take in. But it's all very exciting for the future. I don't think the episode does too much. I think it manages to juggle it all quite well. I just can't wait to see what happens next.
And also the confirmation, by the way, of the theory that the white structure we saw in the background of Homeworld in the Wanted arc, the last visit to Homeworld, was indeed White's ship, and it is a head and torso. So you could theoretically see the legs attaching to that and the arms attaching, and it making a Voltron
all making
robot.
one big ship, which we must see at some point, surely.
Yeah, a lot of people now we've seen them all have done mock-ups. So if you go to this, oh my god, Chris, you can finally do this. You can go to the Steven Universe subreddit right now, and I think the 4th or 5th post down, it's moved along now because there's a lot of stuff being posted at the moment. Someone has done, what that design is.
Cool.
Where is it? Yeah, it's here. Okay, yeah. And it shows the 4 bits we've got put together. Although someone else has reposted that exact same image, but they've used. Do you remember the green hand ship that Peridot and Jasper originally arrived on? The small hand ship.
Oh yeah.
Someone's redone it with that, but it's picking the nose of the main ship.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's genius. I do love it. Oh, one last thing we didn't talk about. White referred to Steven as Starlight.
Yeah, I wondered that. I was like, what's that about? We don't need a 4th name.
Yeah, he's got too many. What did you make anything of that?
No, nothing. I didn't have a clue what that was about. You?
No, I didn't either. I was hoping you'd have some sort of magic Chris theory.
No, nothing.
Okay. That meant
Can't read Wikipedia.
unless the diamonds all grow up to be stars or something. I don't know why you would have called him Starlight.
Again, that implies some sort of nickname. It's all very scary, mother.
Yeah, you're right. I hadn't even thought of that.
Or
Yeah.
something to do with, like, Pink was never meant to have a colony, so Pink's purpose wasn't to do that. It wasn't to be like on planets. So maybe something to do with like Pink.
Yeah.
Pink should have always been happy just being in the stars and being, Pink was never meant to go off. Pink was never meant to leave White's side. That's why she didn't have a pearl. That's why she didn't have a colony. But she demanded it, got it, and then turned traitor.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So something to do with that, maybe.
Yeah. That's not a bad shout. That's pretty good. That could be it. So maybe Pink's purpose was very different, and Yellow went against the grain by allowing Pink to have that colony, and maybe that's why they're so worried about being in trouble.
Yeah, which is certainly how it feels.
Oh my god, I want the next episode now, Chris. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and I'm now going to be feeling that pain.
Yeah, you are. I mean, welcome to the club. I'm not going to feel much sympathy for you because you haven't had all the previous ones to build up on top of that as well. But I'm going to,
That's true.
join us. Now you're in. I assume you're going to be commenting occasionally on the YouTube comments.
Yep, yeah, definitely.
We'll start signing the YouTube comments, I guess.
Yeah, we'll basically start signing them, Chris or Dan.
But yeah, feel free. In fact, guys, now Chris can do it in the comments to this very episode. Why don't you, if you've got a burning question that you've always wanted to ask Chris, but there was no way to do it because you didn't have contact with him, stick it in the comments of this very video and we'll have Chris have a look through them.
Well, I imagine most people's burning question will be, what did your dad want?
What did your dad want?
I don't know, I haven't phoned him back, have I?
He hasn't done what people I know do, which is they'll try to ring you, and if they don't get through, then they'll send you a text explaining what they wanted.
Oh no! He'll just leave it. It'll be a voicemail going, pick up your phone, which will be amazing because I should, as far as he knows, I'm at work, which that's perfectly reasonable that I wouldn't answer my phone, but it still sound mildly annoyed that I haven't.
Amazing. In that case, then everyone below your questions should all be exactly the same, which is, what did your dad want?
And I will respond and let you know.
Awesome.
Cool.
Chris, enjoy. Is the first thing you're going to do now just start surfing through YouTube and watching theory videos?
Yeah, I need to. I'm debating not because I was thinking, I might have time for a run, but I'm thinking about just surfing Reddit instead.
Yeah, go to the Steven Universe subreddit. It's really good. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. I mean, it'll take you could go through it for hours and see all sorts of cool things. But yeah, definitely read comments, read theories. You've opened up a whole world, Chris. You're caught up. There's no fear of spoilers.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited, and I'm very happy to be at this point and to see what happens next.
Welcome to Steven Universe fandom, Chris. It's taken us a year and a half, and I'm
here.
Well done.
I'm with you. Cool.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks very much for listening, guys. We might see you next week for a new episode of the standard show if they release an episode in the next few weeks from our perspective. Because what date are we? We're recording this on, the 25th? 26th? Where are we?
Yeah, it's 24th. 25th, I think. 25th.
Yeah. So it's 25th of July for us. I'm now going away for 2 weeks, but by the time I get back, we might have time to record one more if they do happen to just suddenly release one. But otherwise, we'll be back for some hiatus content next week. So thanks very much for listening. You guys are the best, as always. I've been Dan Doolan.
I've been Chris Billingham.
And we'll speak to you next time as we discuss hiatus stuff.